You get paid, you pay two bills, and the rest of the month doesn't feel like living anymore. It feels like survival. You look at your balance and think, how is it already gone if I literally just got paid? We're going to stop that monthly money panic right now. This is your 20-minute reset. My name is Lucca. I'm not talking to you from the outside. I'm talking from inside this mess. I still have months where I'm holding my phone and stalling before I open my banking app because I already know it's going to hurt. What I'm about to show you is exactly the process I use so I don't hit full collapse by the 28th. I call it a 20-minute reset because it's fast, it's repeatable, and it doesn't depend on 10 spreadsheets or waking up at 5 a.m. to become a new person. Here's how it works. First, you identify what can actually break your month. Then you protect that before it turns into late fees, shutdown notices, or high interest debt. Only after that do you create a tiny space to breathe without running back to the credit card. It's just order, it's just priority. Your 20-minute reset starts now. And I want you to understand how we work here. When something needs to be handled surgically, like what exact sentence do I say to get my bank to lower my interest rate without playing games? That's where Ari comes in. She's surgical, a more immediate survival. How do I get through tonight without panic? Between me and her, the goal is not to promise magic. The goal is to stop the monthly money panic and give you control back 1 month at a time. Take a breath and really hear this. You are not some irresponsible adult who just doesn't know how to manage money. What's happening is that money is being pulled out of your paycheck before you even touch it. Rent that keeps climbing with no real explanation. Grocery prices where you pay more and bring home less. The power bill with a new fee every month. Health insurance that feels like a second mortgage. That's not a discipline problem. That's the cost of living crushing you on purpose. 2 out of 3 workers in the US are now living paycheck to paycheck, even people with good jobs. That's structural, not personal. I see people doing everything right. They work, they pay the car, they live in an okay place, they're not out partying, and they're still scared of the next bill. You know, that moment when you open your banking app and your chest tightens. How much is left? Did something auto charge that I forgot about? That's not laziness. That's constant financial anxiety created by 20% plus credit card AP, rent eating half your paycheck, and a utility bill that can literally cut your power if you fall behind. That's monthly pressure that we've started calling normal adult life. I call this the silent money leak. Every month, someone is quietly taking a slice of your paycheck, like an invisible tax, until you start to believe you're the problem. And once you believe you're the problem, you shut up. You feel ashamed. You don't ask for help. That's where they win. They win when you accept that living in panic on the 28th is just how life is. I want to prove to you that the panic doesn't start on the 28th. It starts the minute your direct deposit hits. I'm going to show you how the money disappears so fast it feels like a setup. Let me walk you through how my month actually works, because it might be exactly like yours. My paycheck hits on Friday and I breathe for, 11 minutes. Then it starts. Rent grabs the biggest slice. The power bill shows up with a new fee I swear wasn't there last month. Groceries take $90 and hand me back to bags in a bad mood. I haven't even mentioned health insurance or the credit card yet. I look again and most of it is already gone, and it's only the start of the month. Here's the ugly trick. You think you're paying bills, but really you're putting out fires that started before the money even landed. It's like walking into your life and realizing half your paycheck was already claimed by rent, the other half by credit card interest, and the other half, yeah, I know that math doesn't add up. Welcome to adulthood by everything else. I've had months where by day 3 after payday, I had less than $100 left. Day 3, that's not living. That's just staying alive. And then what happens? You start operating in fear mode. You're not buying because you want something. You're buying so you don't get shut off. Power, internet, transportation, basic food. You're not really living. You're just keeping the vital signs on. And living like that puts something in your head that no one talks about. You start believing the only way out is just make more money. work double, sell your sleep. I believed that to, let me tell you the ugly truth about the just make more money advice. I grew up hearing the same motivational line: you just need to earn more. Get a side gig, sell something online, grind harder, and boom, problem solved. That's a half truth, and half truths are dangerous. Here's what I actually lived. I've had months where I was making more than I used to, working more hours, and I still ended up putting expenses on the credit card. Not because I didn't earn enough, but because every new dollar went straight into an old hole that was already charging me 20% APR. This matters. If you're carrying a card at 21% APR, every extra dollar you make already belongs to somebody else the second it shows up. It's not yours. It's there's it's like trying to fill a bucket that already has holes in the bottom by turning up the hose. Yeah, you're pouring more in, but you're still losing. The person who tells you just make more money never asks you which bill is exploding interest right now, or which service are you in danger of losing if you fall behind. That's the real question. It's not how much do you make, it's what's draining you today. I'm not saying never increase your income. I'm saying that's not step one. Step one is stopping the active bleed. That means calling your card company and asking for a lower rate before you go chase another side hustle. Making a small payment so your electricity doesn't get flagged for shutoff. Pulling $50 aside so the next flat tire doesn't go straight on a 21% APR card. Does that sound small? It is small, but a small containment move today matters more than doubling your income while you're still leaking. And this is where my 20-minute monthly reset comes in. Here's what honestly saved my head at the end of the month. I call it my 20-minute reset. It's not some magic spreadsheet. It's not a paid app. It's not a you have to reinvent yourself routine. It's a quick checkup I do once a month that puts my money back under my control before it turns into chaos. And I do it the same way, in the same order, every single time, because chaos loves improvising and control loves routine. The reset has 4 steps. Step 1, snapshot. I've taken on this picture of my month, no drama, just raw numbers. Step 2, containment. I put out the most expensive fire first, the thing that can trigger insane interest or a shutoff. Step 3, buffer. I create a tiny breathing cushion, like a fast emergency pad, so I don't have to run to the credit card the first time something goes wrong. Step 4, proof. I keep a record of what I did because I don't want pretty promises. I want a trail I can see. These 4 steps change the game because he not trying to make you rich tomorrow. They're trying to keep you from getting wrecked this month. There's a difference. I'm not here to sell you instant financial freedom. I'm here to pull you out of panic mode and put you in control mode. If you repeat this month after month, you stop living in emergency mode and you start seeing a pattern. And the first part of this reset, the snapshot, is way simpler than people think. It's also the part where most people freeze. The first thing I do in my monthly reset is brutally simple. I look at the truth. I open my banking app and I write down 4 raw numbers: rent, utilities, power/water/internet, anything that can get shut off, groceries for the month, and the most toxic debt payment. I don't list streaming. I don't list going out. Not yet. I only write down what keeps the house standing and what charges me the highest interest. And I do it without shame, almost like EM filling out a health check. And I want you to do the same because this shifts things fast. Grab paper, notes app, anything, and literally write rent underscore utilities underscore groceries underscore debt underscore. If any of those is already marked past you, I circle it in red because that's an active fire. That's not. It would be nice to fix this. That's if I ignore this. I get hit with fees, interest, or shut off. I treat that like oxygen level, not like just another bill. Let me be honest. I've had months where I was scared to even log in. I've stared at the sign-in screen thinking, if I don't look, maybe it won't hurt yet. That's a trap. When you don't look, you lose the only control you still have, choosing the order. When you see the real picture at the start of the month, you get to decide what you hold up first. And that's where step two starts: fixing the right fire, not just the fire that screams the loudest. Once I know where the burn is, I don't try to solve everything. I go straight to whatever will cost me the most if I don't handle it. And that's almost never the bill that's the scariest emotionally. It's the bill that can trigger fees, shut off, or high interest. If I'm behind on something that can cut my power, internet, or heat, that's first. If I've got a card running at 21% APR, so that's first two. Those two essential services and high interest debt are the ones that snowball and push you straight into desperation mode. And here are two things I do every single month without fail. First, I send at least a survival payment to stop the situation from getting worse today. Sometimes that's $30 to the power company just to clear past due. Sometimes it's a tiny extra payment to the highest rate card just to slow down the interest machine. Second, I actually call. I've literally gotten my credit card rate lowered just by asking, what can you do about my interest rate today? No speech, no drama. You think that's nothing? Dropping 3 to 4 percentage points on that rate can matter more than giving up coffee all year. And there's a reason I do this at the very start of the month. Control lowers panic. When you pay just enough to stop a shutoff, you sleep. When you put pressure on your highest interest, you breathe. And when you're breathing, you stop acting like you're in constant danger and you start acting like someone who makes decisions. That calm is what opens the door to the next step, the step most people think is impossible. Saving even a tiny bit for yourself when you swear there's nothing left. Here comes the part everyone resists. Saving money when you feel like you have no money. I get it. I thought it was impossible to, but listen, I'm not talking about a 6 months of expenses emergency fund. That's advice for people who are already stable. I'm talking about $50, $40, sometimes $20 sent straight to a separate account, like a high yield savings account that sits outside your daily spending. That tiny buffer is the wall between my tire blew out and I'm back on a 21% APR card again. Why is that so important? Because without that buffer, every surprise becomes expensive debt. And once every surprise becomes expensive debt, next month is already ruined before it even starts. So I treat that tiny buffer like survival money, not dream money. It's not fun cash, it's protection. And I do it before I spend on anything that isn't essential. Literally, before I move that money first and pretend it's already gone. You want a practical tip? Open a separate account and label it something like do not touch break glass. And here's my favorite part. It sounds small, but it changed my brain. I keep proof. I screenshot what I did in this reset and drop it in a folder. I call proof, not budget. I save the bill I handled, the amount I sent to the buffer, and I track it month by month. Why? Because I don't trust promises anymore. A promise is this month I'll do better. Proof is this month I moved $40 away from interest and it's recorded. That becomes your personal history. And when you can see that history growing, you realize you're not just putting out fires anymore. You're building a defense system. I'm not here pretending I solved everything. I still have months that squeeze. I still get bills that show up higher than I expected. I still freeze sometimes before I open my banking app. What I'm doing is documenting the process of getting out of panic mode and turning it into something repeatable, step by step, so I don't have to improvise my entire month. And every time I tune this system and it actually works, I bring it here. Not like I have the ultimate truth, but like this gave me breathing room this week. Try it and see if it gives you the same. This is not follow this and tomorrow your life is fixed. This is about giving the month a checkpoint. Once a month, we sit down, we look at the numbers without shame, and we make small choices that prevent disaster later. We need that checkpoint because the outside world keeps getting more expensive, faster, and more aggressive. Rent power, interest, none of that is getting nicer to you. So, what I'm trying to build here isn't Sunday motivation, it's a modern survival routine for money. Quiet, realistic, no yelling, no shame, and it's going to keep evolving. What Ari and I are doing is breaking the chaos into pieces you can actually use. Today was a 20-minute reset. In other videos, it's how to negotiate your rate. In another one, it's how to keep a bill from getting flagged for shutoff. Not because I know everything, because I refuse to keep living with that end of a myth fear spike on the 28th. If that sounds like where you are right now, then stay close. I'm going to keep talking about the stuff most people are scared to admit out loud, and I want you to hear it calmly. Now, look at your own situation and ask yourself something honest. Do you want to keep living every month like an emergency you didn't see coming? Or do you want to start running this 20-minute reset at the start of each cycle and take the panic out of it? Because nobody's going to do this for you. The bank won't. The landlord won't. The power company won't. It's on you, but you're not actually alone in it. You've already seen the order. You already know which bill can break you first. Now, sit down, open your app, write the 4 numbers, and put the first extinguisher where it's burning. Start today. Don't push it to later. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Which part of your month hits you the hardest? Is it rent, taking half your paycheck? Is it the power bill with a new line item every month? Is it the credit card that turns into a snowball if you're 1 week late? Tell me that in the comments. Say it straight. No polish. Because the second you say it out loud, it stops sitting in your head and it lands on the table where we can work on it. Ari takes the surgical side, scripts, calls, negotiation. I stay with you on the don't spiral side. Nobody here is judging you. And I'll ask you one last thing that can literally change next month. If this brought your stress from a 10 down to maybe a 7, if it gave you at least one concrete step you can actually take tonight, subscribe and turn on alerts, not to help the channel. To make sure that at the start of next month, you've got someone in your ear reminding you that you don't have to live in monthly money panic by yourself. Save this video, come back to it on your next paycheck drop, and jump into the reset playlist. You don't have to become a whole new person to get a little control. You just don't disappear on yourself